what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna get comments from you folks, ideas, concerns you've got on Fairview. And we're just gonna open up the discussion, we're gonna be doing notes. And then after that, any questions that directed to Public Works or to the police department, we can answer those questions. And then after that, then we're gonna take the information, work on it, come back to you folks on ideas that we're coming up with. So, I'm gonna leave it up to whoever wants to start. Not all at once. All right.
My name is Mike Tavoda. I live in Fairview. And the biggest concern that I've had over the years are the semis that are going up and down Fairview Drive. And you try to figure out, you think, why are they just gonna say, well, you know what? I know I can make it a quarter of a mile without getting caught, and that's why they do it. There are signs that are posted, but in my opinion, those signs are way too small. Amen. And they're only about like this, there's maybe a tiny little red flag or something, orange flag in the top, and maybe these truck drivers that are not used to the area just don't see it. And maybe they're being defiant, I don't know. But that's the biggest concern I have on Fairview Drive, not so much the speeders, because I don't really see that too often, but the semis just irks me, because there's so many kids playing soccer across the road there, and there's so many people walking up and down, and people, kids crossing the road to get to school is a huge concern. And I think maybe one thing that we could possibly do is maybe, if the city or the state, we can get those signs so at least they know what the weight limit is.
I would ask the question, Mike, is there a certain time of day?
The weekends are
All
back.
times of day.
The weekends are back.
I lived on Fairview for 51 years. This is the worst I've ever seen.
And if the weather is bad, it's worse.
Yeah.
If it's raining, it's worse. I live right on Fairview.
I perceive, and it would be interesting to see what my neighbors said, but I perceive the problem to be more common when they're going from east to west. They go through, I don't see as many going up the hill and going east on Fairview. I see more going west on Fairview.
I see the opposite.
You're the west to east people.
Correct. Which direction you come from, so.
With the truck traffic, why doesn't the city correlate with the tollway and say all trucks get off at Peace Road?
Well, okay, let's take the toll. All right? Yeah, you hit it. It costs more money to get off on Annie Glenn Road than it does on Peace.
Right.
And it's always been that way.
Right.
All right? Now, we can contact the tollway, but then again, you know how that works.
One thing I'll add on
I
that.
understand how the tollway works. I work-
Right.
Mr. Peterson, one thing I'll add on that is that a lot of truckers, when they do come through, especially going from like Nestle or whatever, they'll take the back roads to 38. Because they completely avoid the tollway, they don't wanna pay the toll.
Right. No, I
To go to 39, so that's a lot of the ones we deal with are just trying to avoid the tolls too. So if they were using 88, it wouldn't be an issue, because they would just turn back out and get on. But from ones I've spoken with and ones I've watched, they'll just drive all the way over to Annie Glenn and go up to 38.
So
Yes.
when I hear the recommendation to approach the tollway about potentially a sign on 88 eastbound, identifying Peace Road as the route to Park 88. Is that what I hear?
Plus, like he said, making those that are there marked at Fairview first, making those larger, not these little tiny things.
Yeah, but the other good that I can see in driving a motorhome and all that, you have GPS in an area that you're not familiar with, GPS will take you
these drivers that I've noticed are coming from the west going east, and they're following the GPS and they're strangers. They don't know they don't know where they're going, and that's what happens for trucks I observe, just going straight because that might be the best time to go.
I would agree with you, truck drivers are following GPS.
Right, just like you said, it's just a little sign that says, no
Right.
trucks, that could be anything from a delivery truck, but
Mhm.
but the thing is, there's no other signs telling them actually where to go around and back as a truck route.
Okay.
Doesn't the city, excuse me, doesn't the city have a sign, maybe, you know?
Oh, yes.
Well, instead of that little flag that maybe they don't see, maybe they do see, on both east and west before they get there, have signs up with Nestle, can't do it, wherever, this way.
No, I agree. I agree. That small sign after you've already crossed the
They're already
road
there.
is not adequate.
Like I told Steve last week, we were on the golf course, and a truck started across, and he just barely got in Fairview, and they're coming off there over the hill, so he lit his lights up, of course, he stops, and backed him up, I mean, he was going.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go here, here, here.
I appreciate the department coming out there and surveying and trying to catch these truckers. But you gotta realize, these truckers set so high in their cabs, they can see a mile ahead what's up there. And you get, as soon as the department, the car leaves, here they come.
Most of them got the.
I remember years ago, when the officers used to stand on the corner with a gun, catching the speeders.
The radar gun.
Getting back to the idea of larger signs, which I think are definitely warranted, and maybe we should place a couple extras even before the intersections that are affected. How about adding to those larger signs maybe a solar powered red flasher that sees some stop signs like that to just grab their attention? I don't think red flags, apparently they're just not helping. Something that would catch their eye.
Yeah, two things. Number one thing that has helped from an objective standpoint, not necessarily that the truckers are doing this, but if they get back on at Peace Road, okay, going west, they no longer have a differential in toll getting on at Peace Road versus Glen Road. So that argument where if they go to, if they get on Peace Road, they were having to pick up a toll at Glidden, that's gone away. And the other thing is that you have to be a little bit careful. And I'm not trying to defend things, but there's a limit, let's say, a very limited number of semis that can travel on Fairview, because if they're making a local delivery, they can be on there.
Very, very rarely though.
No, but it's true.
That's only like a moving truck or something like that. That's the only time I've ever seen it.
We've had pallets delivered to our house.
Okay, yeah, very, very.
Well, it's rare, but it happens.
Yeah, I think the officers would probably take that into consideration.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So, my name's Jim Taylor, I live in the Heritage Green subdivision as well. At the back of my house, along with about a dozen other homes, is between First and I-88. And so my concern is, and I agree with what we're saying with regard to the issue on Fairview, my concern is that the unintended consequence will be that trucks coming off Van Glidden will turn on First and go behind my house. There's already a significant amount of semi-truck traffic.
That is a truck.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I get it, and I'm just telling you that it's a lot now.
Right. Right.
And that if we go this route, anything other than directing that down east, that's gonna increase. There are times when the trucks actually stand, behind my home, waiting to get to the, stop sign at First and Fairview.
Yep.
And then just one other issue I'll just throw out there. I don't have a speed gun, so I don't know how fast they're going. I know they're going fast. When they top that hill and come down that hill towards the stop sign going north, there's air brake a lot. And frankly, there's times where inside my home rattles.
It sounds like an explosion. I live near there too.
And you know what, and I take that road all the time, cause I live out South Point, okay, so I come down over that. That is a very deceiving area, once from just south of the bridge, or the tollway.
Right.
It's a very deceiving area, because you really don't know where 55 starts and 55 stops. And, that should be probably taken a look at.
Why should it be 55?
Well, it's
No, you're going out to the country, is
Yes,
what I'm saying.
where they turn to go, what if they cross over the tollway and then turn, it shouldn't be.
Honest, I don't even know.
It's actually not so much an issue with the truck traffic going south.
Right.
It's gonna come more, it's
Over
actually
the bridge.
posted at 45. And like I said, I'm home all day. I don't know how fast they're going, I just know they're going fast.
Right.
And it's not till south of there that it turns into 55.
Right. Right.
Mr. Holiday?
The city and taxpayers put out a large number to do that, to redo that road. I don't know what the number was, maybe somebody can find out for us. But if the trucks keep going up and down, it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be a bumpy, bump. So, it's not only beneficial just to people on Fairview, but all the taxpayers. That's where the money came from, to redo that road.
I may be incorrect on this, but at one point, the city talked about making that into the truck route?
Fairview?
Yeah, in the master plan, and this is during the Alderman Gallagher era, it's in the city's plan, whether it's still there, Tim, maybe you want to look into that. The plan was to turn Fairview between First and Fourth Street into a truck route and to allow truck traffic. And I think the reason why the city put the kibosh on it is when they decided to keep the soccer fields there. The plan went bye-bye, but I think it's still on the books, and I hope it doesn't come back and be put into play here.
This guy's been waiting a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just wanted to share a quick story. This happened a couple years ago. I'm sure we all remember the land swap that was possibly going on between Shodine and the school district. My wife and I were at a social gathering that was also attended by a DeKalb police officer. At this social gathering, he found out that we lived on Fairview. His attitude about myself and my wife and all of us on Fairview became very disparaging. He felt, in his opinion, that we deserved what we were getting with the land swap. He felt that it was something that we deserved because of all the complaints that we were filing with the DeKalb Police Department regarding truck traffic. And he made it clear that it was an absolute waste of time for police officers to sit on Fairview and write tickets to trucks who are breaking the law. So I guess I don't want to be antagonistic in this meeting, but my question is that the prevailing thought of the DeKalb Police Department regarding our dilemma? Or is that just one man's opinion?
You know what, I wish that would have been brought to our attention when it happened, because some of you who know me know that I have skin in the game here. So, and I'm not gonna put out my address or anything like that. But you probably have seen me writing tickets down in that area and stopping trucks whenever I come across them. I've only written 2 this year, because that's all I've seen on duty, but if I'd seen it anymore, they would have gotten tickets as well. So that is not the opinion of the police department. I can guarantee you that. I assign officers to do traffic details down there all the time. The problem is, as soon as one truck is even turning the corner on 4th Street or on Fairview or on 1st Street, they're on the radio telling back to Nestle or wherever else, and everybody who's worked with truckers knows that they get on those CBs and they'll let you know when the Smokies or wherever, and you know what I'm saying? So it's not at all the opinion of the police department. I got the speed trailer out there right now. We're trying to get some of the data on speeding. Again, the students aren't in, so we're not getting as many cars flying across from, Peace Road. And then I'll talk to you after the meeting, I mean, you know, then I'll find out exactly some more details, and then I can make sure you understand that it's not the opinion of our.
I appreciate it, I mean, that was very, very disappointing that that would even have been an issue.
No, there
I wanted to
had
make
been
sure
thought.
that we are in partnership with the DeKalb Police Department, rather than it looking from our perspective that
Right.
this is a waste of time to
No,
go out
it
there and
isn't.
write tickets.
It isn't, there has been some differences in opinion amongst other people as well. I know, the gentleman in the back mentioned at one point there was talk about making that the truck route, because, 38 would potentially become a bypass, it could be like a bypass to 38, sending trucks around to the south. I mean, that's something that was discussed before. I just don't think that's even in the works anymore, or even a thought, because of the downtown, just trying to get trucks away from downtown. So there's been a lot of conversations. Some people may have the opinion but that's just a personal opinion. That's not a department.
And then, just real quick, lastly, I think that also this needs to be understood, that this isn't necessarily a Fairview Drive issue. I work in the DeKalb School District, and when I leave to go to school in the morning, there are numerous kids that live behind Fairview in all of those new subdivision areas that cross Fairview Drive to walk along that new bike path to get to Huntley Middle School. And many of them, I happen to live at 314, which is about 5 houses from 4th Street. That's pretty much at the peak part of that hill. Many times these kids are crossing that area, and in the wintertime, when they're going to school at 7:15, it's still somewhat dark. And there is traffic, and it's not just necessarily a truck issue, but the speed issue as well. These kids are crossing that street in dangerous areas, and I think that needs to be brought up as well.
You know,
The safety issue of the kids crossing Fairview from the subdivision.
I've got a letter here that one of the people on Fairview gave me and sent to Tim also. And it's a point there that, you know, there's more kids crossing the street now because it's a middle school rather than high school, right?
Right.
And the other thing is, if you go out and you see that hill there, when they're coming over that hill going from west to east, you know, the kids can look, but they don't see the car.
Right.
You know, and so it's a point well taken.
I wanted to also touch on the speeding. I live next door to them, and we have an easement between us, and now that easement is used as a walkway for the kids, and people going over to the park to use it to walk their dogs. I can stand out, I check both ways before going to get my mail and let cars go by. I certainly can tell the difference between 35 and 45 and 50. And especially now with the new, the couple of the new warehouses down there, one especially, the traffic seems to really pick up at 6:30 in the morning for a little while, 2:30 in the afternoon, and 10:30 at night. And they are flying down Fairview.
And they pass.
I've got, you know, years of experience of driving, and I know the difference between 35 and I even think that the speed limit, because of all the stuff that goes on in that park and the kids crossing the street, I propose that the speed limit be lowered to 30.
If I can continue on this vein with pedestrian traffic. We live in Heritage Ridge, and when the new path came in along Fairview, there was a crosswalk placed there, which just anecdotally, I guess 90% of the traffic fails to obey. And I believe there's another crosswalk, one or
There's
two
actually
others.
3 crosswalks.
3 crosswalks. And I wonder if it's, once again, going back to the issue of signage. I know with the old police department or courthouse, there used to be the small signs that reminded drivers of state law to yield to crosswalks. I wonder if signage of that, along with better marked crosswalks, might help impede some of the speeding. I don't know if speed tables or stop signs are budgetary issues, you know, permissible in this fiscal climate, but perhaps crosswalk signage might at least help with the speeding.
Yeah, well, and it might, that would be more of just a threat, because legally, the pedestrian has to be in the crosswalk for somebody to actually have to yield to them. So I know people in Sycamore normal, say somebody's stopping on the side of the road or waiting to cross and they'll stop for you. That's not what's legal. Legally, you know, if you're in the crosswalk and a car starts to come, they must stop. But it would be nice, and that might be a very good
It is,
suggestion.
it's visual, it's something you see and makes you think,
Right.
rather than just speed on it.
Yes.
Do the signs on those crosswalks already indicate that they're being used as school crossings? Can they even indicate that?
No, they're just
They're
crosswalks.
just pedestrian crosswalks, we just know that the middle schoolers use them a lot.
Yeah, they're just crosswalks.
Could there be signs added that just indicate that they're being used as school crossings?
Tim?
We can look at it everywhere else.
There's pedestrian crosswalk signs. There, I don't.
Actual crossing guards, like they use by the school.
You cannot put a school crossing sign in those places, because it's not a school zone.
Yeah.
If you put up the school crossing zone, that's 20 miles an hour, and there's absolutely no justification with the distance of that from a school.
But there is, because the kids don't have an option to ride.
No, that's not what the determining factor is. The determining factor is whether you are in proximity to the school. Now,
But then shouldn't the school district have to bus actually children then from there?
now,
Well, we can certainly look into what signage is available and then report back. That's one of the purposes of this meeting, is to get great ideas like that and then try to report back, because he's right, we can't put up a school zone because it is not within the legal limits of the school distance, but we can see maybe there's bigger signs or better signs that we can put up, aside from the crosswalk ones that are there now.
it's a heavily traveled road, but it's not considered Fourth Street would have a better chance for every crosswalk there, because that is a state highway, four lanes. You may be able to get that with respect to a hazardous crossing.
But that even changes being a middle school now.
Right,
instead
no,
of an
no,
elementary
I
school.
understand.
So and we have looked into some of that, but we can report back on what we can add.
And I'd like to add one thing. You might want to check with the school district, because I think there's something out there that they have to bus your child if there's no sidewalks.
That's why they did a sidewalk.
Am I right?
But that's why they have a sidewalk in. They put it on the north side of the street. There is a sidewalk. And it goes all the way to the school.
Okay.
This is for Steve. A couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I was out snow blowing, there was an officer sitting across the street. A truck goes by, and I went like this, nothing. I finished snow blowing, he was still sitting there. I walked over and asked him, I said, you see that truck go by? Yeah, he said, what about it? I said, well, there's signs on it. He said, it says, my Bible says it's a truck route between First and Fourth.
See another one. No, I wish you would've told me that.
Should've got the name of that officer.
You gotta get the name.
Yeah.
And maybe your complaint or not, some of the complaints, a lot of this happened before we were in the city. You know, we were the stepchild, but we were in the county.
And I'd like to say, you know, if you do have any problems, and if you're hesitant to contact the police department or the city, you come to me to speak for you, okay? And, you know, you use your name, don't use your name, whatever, it's a concern, you come to me, contact me, I gave my business card back here, that's what I'm getting at. I've got business cards up here, email, phone call, whatever. And who was next?
I'm interested in what community outreach has happened between the city and the Nestle, Panduit, Park 88, where a lot of this truck traffic is coming from. Is it something, I'm assuming something's already been done or talked to, but is that something that you have to remind them of to tell their truck traffic?
That's a great idea. I don't know, in the last year, I don't know of any conversations that we've had, but we'll definitely bring that, this idea to them. They have a part in this as well, so we definitely wanna ask them to communicate to the drivers, you know, even if it's a warning, hey, by the way, you've got DeKalb's attention.
And Tim, by the way, we have done that, the police department has gone, and most recently we did it when trucks were parking in the center turn lane on, east of 7th Street. So we regularly do that. One of the things you gotta remember though is the trucks that actually use, or that sneak through from 1st to 4th, it's a very, very small fraction of the trucks that they get in. So let's say they get, and I'm just throwing out a number, 200, 250 trucks a day, and maybe we get 10 that come through. I mean, you're talking a very small percentage of the trucks that go there. So it seems like a huge problem to us because we notice it when it's a truck, but to them, they could tell all the drivers all day, and if it's some new guy or whatever that didn't hear the message when they were telling everybody, But we have done that many times, and we can do it again, of course.
But to take that one step further, maybe the companies could kind of, put up some information for their employees, and that would help with maybe some of the speeding issues.
Even putting a sign from the exit, when the trucks exit, right at the entrance exit, I mean, I could even see the city going more to having something done and then offering to put it up on the times when they were pulling out to remind everybody. I do want to point out, I've got some people, I didn't realize we have people signed up. I don't know if you talked already, but let's get these out of the way because they did take time out to sign up. Dorothy?
Yes, my idea was to ticket them, but that won't work, huh?
No, we do, but there's different drivers. A lot of these truck drivers, they're independent contractors. They're driving somebody else's truck, and they're just sent on route. And I'm telling you, I've stopped them over the years now for, like I said, I'm down there quite a bit. The majority of them, when they do try to blame GPS, that doesn't work because truck drivers have a specific truck GPS. It's not the car GPSs that you or I would use in like the minivans or the SUVs or where. There's a truck route GPS. So what they do is they purposely blow through there. It's just they're lazy or they're wanting to, save some time on their logs or things like that. I've never spoken to a truck driver or any legitimate drivers that have not seen those signs. It's usually, well, I saw it, but I figured I could make it. And when I'm there and I drive an unmarked car, a lot of times they don't see me, and you'll see them, they'll pull up to the stoplight, they'll go like this and see if we can. Now, I will say I've never seen a truck get over 35 miles an hour on that strip though either. It's very tough for a truck to pick up enough speed in those 3 blocks to get to a speeding violation. And we have been dedicating officers. I don't want anybody to think that this is falling on deaf ears. We have dedicated a lot of officer time to be down there. I have the state police down there as much as they can get. I'm good friends with the truck sergeant that runs the truck detail. You guys have probably seen them stopping, doing truck inspections a lot at 4th and Fairview. So we are doing a lot. We've got a lot of other parts of town that patrol as well, so we can't be dedicating an officer all the time.
Can I follow up on your comments regarding the truck GPS? Have you verified, does anybody have one of these truck GPSs to verify that between 1st and 4th Street it is designated as a non-truck route? Is it coded correctly? Does anybody know for a fact?
I don't know the truckers that have used that excuse. I've had them pull up and show me, and it shows them to go down to Harvester.
Okay, so it does show them that.
Again, I haven't called Garmin. I don't quote me on
Right,
that.
I'm just curious if anybody looked at the
If
software.
they have it in the right mode as well, too. Sometimes they don't put it in truck mode to claim ignorance.
Okay.
That's another. You can change the modes on it. In the truck mode, it is supposed to go down to Harvester. Yeah. From ones I've seen. Again, I haven't inspected all.
Okay. And Brent.
I spoke.
You spoke. Okay, you're good. Mark, Schwab.
A couple years ago, and I don't recommend anybody do this, but I was coming off heading east on Fairview from 1st Street, and the truck is like right behind me. I'm like, he's gonna keep going. He's gonna keep going. So I stopped. And I said, do you realize this is he didn't even realize, he wasn't even looking. So I almost threatened him. I said, you may want to back up or just don't do this again. But I just kind of stopped and got out of my vehicle and told him, He could have rammed me in the back if he wanted to. Citizen's arrest. Now, is there a sign at the Annie Glidden exit prior to getting to that intersection of Fairview and South 1st Street, prior to that says all trucks are going to need to turn? Is there a sign? There is a sign right at the exit saying that.
Not right at the exit, when you're coming in off the bridge,
Sure.
I knew that question's gonna come
Yeah.
up, so I drove through there. There's one, right before you get to the bridge, right, I think it's right after you come over the bridge.
Okay,
It's a sign, got 2 flags,
right,
and then right before the stop sign.
right, I know there's one right at the stop
And it
sign.
shows truck route pointing south.
Okay. That's my question, so.
Okay, and, let's sell that.
I have a friend that got ticketed by a photo going through a construction site. He got a notice just appear in court, and it cost $750. Why couldn't there be a photo out there on Fairview as a test run?
Well, we currently have the speed trailer set up. It does have capability to potentially take pictures of the cars that are speeding. And we could do something like that, but, the license plate readers that come in those are a lot more expensive than just the normal thing. So for us to add that, I mean, we're talking potentially a $5,000 difference in cost.
Well, we increased the truck fine to 500.
Well, what is a truck fine? Just a truck going down without weighing it, what is it?
It'd be just a regular traffic ticket for disobeying a traffic control device.
So if a semi went through there and you didn't weigh it, and you gave them a ticket, how much would they have to pay?
It'd be the minimum $120. And it's a big deal for trucks. I mean, it may not be a big deal for us having a speeder, but a truck driver getting that on a CDL, like I said, those of you that have CDLs, that's a big deal. They would rather get the weight violation, from what I'm told. A lot of them say they would rather get the weight violation because then the company pays that instead of getting the ticket on their license because it affects their CDL.
So to get something like that, and we gotta be careful, Cliff, because I don't know, but about, this photo, ticketing, that's a hot topic, I'm with you, I understand exactly what you're saying, but, you just have to be careful with that, I don't know what those things cost.
And our trailer right now has the capability to snap a picture, but it's getting it coordinated with the right car and confirming it. All we would be able to do is just send a letter to say your car was speeding, as a warning or as a courtesy. We wouldn't be able to take them off that.
The toll booth does a pretty good job.
They make a lot more money.
By the way, and the other thing is, it's just the owner of the vehicle, it's not that, they've got their nice license, and one more, and the last person is Dean Holiday.
I was asked to ask that question about the camera. You say they're expensive. Well, can we get a grant? I mean, there's grants for everything.
Right. I'm not saying no because it's expensive, I'm just asking the cost.
For a camera.
No, we have the capability to take a picture with our speed trailer right now. But as far as to do the whole thing for a license plate reader that'll say who the car belongs to and do all that, it's a little bit more expensive. So right now, if we get a good picture and we can read the plate, we can send a letter as a warning, just your car was seen speeding.
They're on that road, they're in violation, correct?
Well, again, this is about regular cars.
No, I'm talking about the truck.
I don't think you're gonna get a truck going, speeding.
He's on Fairview Drive.
You talking about the weight?
Well, yeah, but the camera we have right now won't take a picture just because it's a truck.
Okay.
It doesn't do it by size, it does it by speed.
That's my question.
Yeah, no, we can't do it just because it's a truck.
Can we ask for a grant from some like state transportation?
Yeah, I just don't know of any camera system that would just take a picture just that it's a truck, you know what I'm saying? All the cameras that I've seen only take pictures of because of speed. Just like somebody going through a construction zone too fast.
They have to take the license.
Yes, sir.
A friend of ours was making a wrong turn, they took the front and back, couldn't even notice for 135.
Again, but there was a traffic violation being committed. They won't do it just because it's in the wrong place, because it's on a truck route, on an hour truck route. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying.
Can a citizen take a picture of a truck, let's say we witness it, and then send it to you, and can they be issued a ticket after the fact? But I know if the officer didn't witness it, it's my word against theirs, but the picture shows.
No, we can't, and in that circumstance, it would just be up to you if you wanted to come to court.
Right.
We were having issues on Evans, trucks were turning off of off of Lincoln Highway, turning down Evans to get down to August Packaging. That was a real big problem. There's, if you guys drive over by Evans and Lincoln Highway, you'll see a lot of the signs that we put up there, and it's taking care of the problem. But we had one resident down there that was calling, getting a good description of the truck, and our officers would find it still at August, and we go find the driver and take it.
Right.
So if you call when it happens, it's a little harder because, you know, they have a lot more options than on Evans. At Evans, they were just going to August. It was really easy for us to find.
Sure.
On Fairview, they could be going to Annie Glidden, they could be going to Peace, they could
Right.
be at any one of the distribution centers.
Right.
But if you get a picture at least of the
License.
license board of the side of the truck.
Right.
And then I would be more than happy to make sure we get phone calls to the companies. Ticketing would be harder because we'd have to be able to verify who's driving.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Didn't you lose one of your little speed trailer things on Fairview once?
We didn't lose it.
Well,
It got hit, yes.
and does this new one, you said it, does it record speeds so that you can tell how many cars were going over this limit, stuff like that? So you can get some data
Yep.
as to speed traffic?
Sure, and then this, I can give you some data, and, Mrs. down there mentioned that sorry, I gotta look this up on my phone. The lady said that 6 o'clock in the morning it seems to pick up. I've had it out there since July 28th, and this is until midnight of August 3rd, so the morning of August 4th. At 6 o'clock in the morning, going eastbound, there was only 163 cars that went by. Of those, only 2 were going 15 over. So if they were going more than 50 miles, and 15 also going 50 or above, that was 2 of them. 7 were going medium, so let, be about 10 over. And then 76 were going really, between 35 and 40. So it's not, those numbers don't jump out at me as a ton of violations. That's in that 1 hour. The busiest hour we had of traffic at all, we had 337 cars go by at 4 o'clock in that week. And only 1 was going more than 15 over.
Which direction?
That's going east, or I'm sorry, going westbound.
Well, there's so many in the line that can't speed.
Well, that's,
There's a guy in front holding them up.
and you know what, though, since that traffic light was added at 4th and Fairview, that traffic light slowed down traffic quite a bit, because I remember when I was a young patrolman, I would sit over on Monticello and run radar, and you'd catch cars leaving that stop sign flying. You don't see that anymore, because that's exactly what slows things down.
Speaking of,
When the school starts again, it'll pick up.
speaking of the signal at Fourth and Fairview, can it be set so that if someone is waiting to go east and they get there after the people are starting to turn, can they get their turn to go, or do they have to wait the whole cycle like they do now?
Good point. That's, he's right. It's ridiculous. If you're heading westbound on Fairview Drive, okay, that'll trigger it, but if nobody's heading eastbound on Fairview, and then all of a sudden the car comes up and that's already triggered it, that light stays red for the eastbounders. So you have to wait a whole new cycle, which is a long time. And that stoplight is a long time for Fairview to turn green. And I don't understand why the light just wouldn't automatically turn green. What problem does it cause? I mean, if there's not a car there, it doesn't make any difference. Why would it just turn green? If you're heading eastbound and you don't trigger that in time, you have to wait.
It's been that way since they redid that intersection, it's like they didn't set it up back then.
You're right, Mike, but it's even worse than that, because I've been through there, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're going westbound, which is the one that's supposed to trigger things. And there's empty road.
Right.
And I've waited 5 minutes, I've timed it, 5 minutes at the light to get a green.
Now, if you were gonna be in the left-hand turn lane, that might trigger it.
That might,
But you're not gonna turn left, you're gonna go straight. And
Right.
You're right.
It's a long.
It's ridiculous.
Well, that one, Tim will have to spearhead.
I'll look at it.
Point. Yes.
Two comments. Number one, I think one of the issues with respect to making Fairview, a truck route, which I know Tim and I think agree on this, it's that road would have to be rebuilt to be able to handle the, what's that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And-
we have no plans to do that.
No, no, no.
That's-
Well, what I'm saying is, given the financial status of the city and the status of the roads, that priority is probably not in an awfully long time, even if it's in anybody's plan and they want.
And look around,
just
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Why-
I mean, just
why
looking
is
at
it-
everybody here, I mean, they're gonna be, but
Why is it on the master plan then? Because I'm worried about some future council.
you know what, and that's.
It should be
that's why
taken
I'm
off.
Here, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I'll make sure we go over and try to get that pulled, if it
Yeah.
is on the master
Mhm.
plan. Because they do have, you know, it's a big term master plan, right? Everything is made to be changed, but, I'll check on that.
The other comment was one, for the police department, and I'm not sure if it was Mr. Holliday or if it was somebody else who had said it. It has not been an extremely long period that the houses on Fairview have been in the city. And, you know, at one point I can see how there could have been confusion about, okay, you're calling the city for a problem that, you know, you're not in the city. But now, those houses are in the city. And it's important to remind, all, city staff, including public safety, that, you know, those people are entitled to all of the same protections as, those who live behind them who were in the city, even though people on Fairview weren't.
And to expand on that a little bit, if you remember, we had an alderman that made the statement, well, those people don't count on Fairview, right? They're not in the city. But then the people behind us, Eagle Park, kind of came to the rescue. I think like 200 of them said, yeah, but we vote, just because they don't, we do.
Well, fortunately, it's water over the dam.
Yes.
You had your hand up, yes.
I don't know if this will do any good, but this is coming from the perspective of a teacher and a mom. I assume these people really, their jobs are important to them, and I don't know if there would be any value in calling the phone number that's on their truck. Like, I'm a teacher who makes my students call their parents and tell them what they've done wrong. So, I don't know if you can have the truck driver call their boss and be like, I just got a ticket, or if you can call their boss on their behalf. But I'm
And that's something
thinking-
that Sherrod had said, I'd be more than happy to make those phone calls and
Yeah.
get that information.
I feel like adding that
How am I
step,
driving?
right, yeah, that might be really powerful.
And you guys can do that yourself, just if you see it yourself, that'd be
Commander,
Take a picture of it.
isn't it true that on a lot of trucks, okay, they go to these, like Nestle or Panduit, okay? And the tractor is different than the trailer. And so you've got one license plate number for the tractor and the operator. And then if somebody gets the license plate number of the trailer, they're just getting the person whose goods are being hauled. They're not getting the person who necessarily is responsible for operating the vehicle, though they would be responsible for the content.
Right, we'd be able to, you're right, but the truck will usually say who the independent contractor. that
Oh, no,
leases it
I
or something.
understand that.
It's rarely Nestle's trucks or Target's trucks or
Right.
Walmart or anybody like that is committing these violations, because I think they get those messages to their truckers. It's usually the independent contractor who's trying to save time, trying to make it cheap with log books and doing that kind of stuff. That's I've never once stopped a Target truck or Nestle truck or anything
I've
like
never
that.
seen that, never seen that.
So it's usually, you know, and again, so it's usually the smaller business person or the independent contractor.
Yes, I'd just like to say thanks, this has been great.
Yeah.
And also, when you come back again, maybe to we were talking like on Evans Street, maybe if you guys have had similar experiences with speed and what you've done, and that's worked, like those flashing.
Right.
Like, you have a main highway, I don't know if those work, and then you guys have done this in other places. Come back and say, we did this on this street, and then this problem some of the years, and this, whether it's signs or.
Right. Like, there's our good old standard sign with some flags on it. Sure. On Lincoln Highway, both directions. And then one individual who was very persistent. So, yeah.
Do you want, does anybody have any other questions, comments regarding it? Yes.
I'd like to make a comment. I just want to let the commander know that I really appreciate it. When I am walking that trail by the soccer fields there, and I see your car sitting out there, that gives me a good feeling. Because you're not only protecting the road and the trucks there, but you're there in the neighborhood and you make your presence known.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Good.
Thank you.
I do want to point out, when I reached out to the Park District, is there anybody here from the Park District? You know,
Board members right here.
I totally forgot.
They're too busy killing grass.
So, I understand you guys are going to have some kind of different plan, or not a different plan, but a plan for that area, Fairview, for the soccer fields.
It's, the master plan is just now starting to start talking about it.
Right.
Because we were involved with the school district on a land swap, and it sounds like that's coming through, because we were waiting for that, their old ball diamond over there, we were gonna swap that one, so the master plan is gonna start being talked about.
All right. So just make everybody aware of that, so, you know, that's,
And it would not change, hopefully, because there'd be a lot of soccer people mad at it, so.
right, but I didn't know, like, changing parking lot or entrance exits, whatever.
That I can't answer right now, but
Right.
it is gonna be discussed.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
Question
Yes.
for you. We have a lot of heritage, we have a lot of people from Heritage Ridge here. Do you have an update on the Heritage Ridge SSA, since we have a lot of the Heritage Ridge
Yeah,
people here?
and I can discuss that afterwards, but
Okay.
overall, I just reached out, they were just finishing it up. The finance director, the interim finance director, I said either email it to me in a format or throw it in my mailbox. I believe that was Thursday. I've not been to the city hall to check my mailbox. I will beginning of the week. And then I will reach out to everybody on Heritage Ridge and see, because everybody's in town. Everybody's in the, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Real quick, for everybody that's not from Heritage Ridge, there was a portion of Heritage Ridge that was paying off their EAB a portion to take care of the cul-de-sacs. So, and when the houses were being built, those lots, the new lots weren't being put on the tax roll, paying for it. So, it wasn't money that was taken out every year, but I'll be able to see a better snapshot on what happened and where it's at now, and we'll go from there, figure out what we're gonna do. So it is done. So, and thanks for bringing that up.
You got it.
That was one of my first jobs.
Right.
Thank you. You folks got a commander?
Just want to say one thing, what John was saying. I want to thank Tim, you, and Steve for having this. I don't think that our previous alderman would have ever done this for us. And I appreciate that you organizing this, and Tim, I appreciate you, and Steve, I always appreciate what you and our fellow officers do. I think we can all say here, we're all behind you 100%.
Yeah, one more.
Are you thinking about a follow-up meeting for this?
Yeah, we're gonna do something here, you know, I'll tell you what, this is not hard to do.
Yeah.
It really isn't, you know, and the hardest part is to get everybody in to have this big of a group. And I really, really thank you for this, because it's, I mean, you just never know what.
There's a legitimate concern.
Well, yeah, absolutely, I mean, you know, like I said, you know, there's a lot of people that are concerned about it, and, this is a good turnout, it really is. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna work on it, and then come back to, probably on the this is not just gonna sit on a shelf.
Would it be easier for you to communicate via email if people have an email address rather than the printed notice in plastic bag on the door? I mean, we appreciate
Okay,
that. and that's-
you know what, I'd love to have that happen.
We did have a sign-up sheet, back there, so if you put your
Right.
email address on there, we'll definitely include you in the notification.
Right, and the only problem with that is, you're gonna get the people that don't have access to email, or they don't check it,
Right.
or we get it wrong, or they didn't know about the meeting. I think this meeting was pretty well publicized, I think. And I had a lot of complaints. It was in the Chronicle, I had a lot of people complaining to hear my name all the time on the radio for the last 2 years. So yeah, it was on the website, so.
And it should also be noted that he also had a ward meeting and is gonna be doing more ward meetings in the future for the fourth ward,
We're
so.
gonna try to do at least every 6 months. And, you know, you have problems, reach out to me. You got any concerns, come to those meetings. I wanted one right away, and, which we did over at the township. The township was gracious enough to offer that, and I'll be using that again. So, all right, well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for, if they were distracting at all.
Oh, what's that?
The kids were distracting at all. Thank you.
No, they're fine.
Yeah, boys.